Assalamu alaikum. Today I'll teach you how to create professional looking subtitles for your videos like these.
For thousands of years under monotheistic religions, and for 4,000 years under the three major Abrahamic religions, religion has never posed a threat on the human race. In fact, it presented humanity with higher ethical values that both believers and disbelievers could not dispute. It established the groundwork for various civilizations.
You might have
To the
noticed these
extent that we
large
can
bold
easily
subtitles in
assume
Islamic
that
videos.
all the good
The merciful servant is quite fond of them. They try to transcribe the entire text in short phrases. Creating subtitles can be a daunting task if you use traditional methods. The method I'm going to teach you is more flexible and it's quick to implement. The results are better than those by the merciful servant and the timing is more consistent. This particular tutorial is for Windows only. You'll need a Windows PC with 4 GB of RAM, a video editor like Premiere, Vegas or After Effects, Adobe Photoshop. Any old version of Photoshop will do just fine. I am assuming you know a bit of video editing. There are many ways of creating hard-coded subtitles. Most video editors allow you to create captions or titles. You simply type your text and time it. You can also import subtitle files in Premiere Pro and Vegas. The workflow I am presenting results in better looking subtitles. It's also quick once you get the hang of it. The great thing is that the subtitles it generates can be used in multiple video editors. The method is fast, it's free, you have full control over fonts, text styles, and colors, etc. The timing is consistent, the transitions are natural, they don't irritate like DVD subtitles. It's easy to change the language after the fact. It's just like editing a Word document. There are some caveats. Correcting a single mistake at later stages will require you to repeat multiple steps, so you got to be careful in earlier steps. You'll need a bit of practice, but once you identify your requirements, it's quite fast. This method can create large temporary files. The output is an image sequence that is not usable in all video editors. If you want to use this in Filmora, you'll have to perform an extra step. There are 3 stages in the workflow. Creation of a subtitle file. In our case, it's a .srt file. Creation of subtitle text. This step is like editing in Microsoft Word. Animation of the text. This is handled automatically if you performed step 1 correctly. The first step is to create your subtitle file. You'll need to download a software called Subtitle Edit. Google Subtitle Edit and download the Windows version. The software is totally free. Now we're in Subtitle Edit. Open your video. You can also drag your video or audio onto the main window. You should be able to see the waveform. In case you cannot see it, install VLC Player. Subtitle Edit will not work correctly without VLC Player. Identify the starting and ending time of a particular sentence. Select the waveform in the audio timeline. Right-click and select the first option.
You feel bad when you
Now
commit
type
a
your
sin.
text in the middle panel. Start your subtitle where the audio level changes abruptly. Drag the playback marker a little bit before the start of your subtitle and check if your timing is accurate. You can always adjust your selection by selecting a particular subtitle and dragging the end bars. Now repeat the same thing for all subtitles. Your phrases can be as short as you want them to be. You can find plenty of tutorials for subtitle edit, so we'll not be dragging this too long. For this tutorial, I'm using a 2-minute video by the Prophet's Path YouTube channel. This is for teaching purposes only. You can export the audio of your video project separately and then import it into Subtitle Edit. Make sure the timing is correct. Typos are not that important at this stage. Save your SRT file. You can simply press Ctrl+S. Now that you've created your subtitle SRT file, we can proceed to the next step. If we open our SRT file in Notepad, we can see that each subtitle consists of 3 parts: a sequence number, timing information, and the actual text. Now we'll split the SRT file into two files. The first will contain the timing information. The second will contain the text. For this, I'll be using a tool I wrote in Visual C#. I'll be using 3 of my tools in this tutorial. Download links are provided in the description below. Now open srt to timecode.exe. Drag your SRT file into the window and press run. You should be able to see two new text files in the same folder. The first file is timecodes, which contains the starting and ending times. The second text file is sublines, which contains the actual subtitle separated by blank lines. A single subtitle can span multiple lines. Now if you want to, you can copy this subtitle text into a word editor and check for typos or grammar mistakes. Once you're satisfied, you can proceed to the part involving Photoshop. Create a new image with width equal to the width of your target video. The height can be anything, just enough room to fit your text. I'll create an image of 1920 by 4000 pixels. Make sure the mode is set to RGB. I'm selecting a black background so I can read my text easily. Select the text tool and drag a window of width about 80% of your image. Now copy your text from your Word document or the original sublines file. Paste it into the window you just created. Select your font and font size in the character panel. Change your font size so that most of your subtitles fit inside a single line. As you can see, we have some long sentences. We'll need to fit these inside the allocated space. You can reduce the width of each character or the font size or both. You can also force a single subtitle onto multiple lines and play with the line spacing to fit it snugly. You can change the text color to your liking. For this demo, I'll go with a bright orange color. You can highlight some words by changing their colors. Once satisfied, remove the background layer by deselecting it in the Layers panel. Save your image as a PNG file in a new folder. You might have noticed that we couldn't fit all our text in the image we created. Select the remaining text and paste it over the same image. Before that, delete your earlier text. Repeat the earlier steps to fit your text inside the allocated space. When you're satisfied, save your image as a separate PNG file in the same folder where you saved your first image. Name your images in a proper sequence. It's also a good idea to save your files as separate PSD files, just in case you might need to correct mistakes later. The next step is splitting the subtitles we created earlier into a series of separate images. Open Image Parser. This tool separates chunks of image data separated by blank spaces. The first parameter is the path of the images folder we created earlier. You can select it by clicking here. The most important parameter to set here is the minimum line gap. We'll ignore the minimum line height for now. This is just a safety measure. In order to set a suitable value for the minimum gap, we'll need to examine our composite subtitle images. Open your first image in Microsoft Paint and find the minimum gap between two consecutive subtitles. In this case, I found a minimum subtitle gap of about 40 pixels. Now we'll go through the second image to see if we have a smaller subtitle gap. I can't notice a gap larger than 40 pixels. Now set the minimum subtitle gap to 40 in Image Parser and press Run. This will create a new folder in the same path. If everything went according to plan, we should have the same number of images in the sentences folder as we have subtitles in the SRT file. Inspect the images in the sentences folder to see if you can spot a mistake. Once satisfied, we can proceed to the next step. The final part of the workflow is animation of the subtitles. For this, I'll use another of my tools. Open Subtitle Maker. This program needs two things. One is the folder of the separated images we just created. The other is the timing information in the timecodes file. The result is a 30 FPS video. Subtitle Maker has plenty of tunable parameters. You can change the input folder by clicking here. You can select the size of your output video. You can also set the height of your frame. We have two other parameters that I'll explain now. The rise time is the time it takes for a subtitle to manifest itself completely. The fall time is the time it takes for it to fade out once its opacity starts decreasing from a maximum value. If the rise and fall time are 0, the subtitles will appear and disappear suddenly, like those optional captions in YouTube videos.
vicious.
The optimal value of the rise time and fall time depend on your particular speaker.
Grievously hath Caesar answered it.
The fall time should always be longer than the rise time. We apply a smoothing function to make the subtitles appear more natural. This is similar to ease in and ease out if you're familiar with After Effects. I'll set the rise time to 11 and the fall time to 15 frames. This is with reference to a 30 fps video. Once you're ready, press go. You'll see a new folder in the same path. Your subtitle video is an image sequence that you can use in most video editors. You can see we have thousands of images labeled sequentially. Now that we've created our subtitle video, we need to import it into a video editor. You can import an image sequence as a video in Premiere Pro, Vegas, or After Effects. Older versions of Vegas are more intuitive. For this tutorial, I am using an old version of Vegas. We can see our video project in the timeline. For this tutorial, I am building upon a video by the Prophet's Path. Go to File, Import, and click Media. Navigate to the video folder you created using Subtitle Maker. Click on the first image in that folder and select Open Sequence. Press Open. The next step is extremely important to get right. You'll need to set the frame rate of your subtitle video. By default, it's set to the frame rate of your project. You might have to type in 30 manually in the frame rate box. Press OK. You should be able to see your subtitle video inside the media panel. Drag your subtitle video onto a new video track. Do not paste it over an existing video track. Align your subtitles to the point where your first subtitle should appear. In this case, our speaker began his speech at 22.2 seconds. If you've got a powerful enough computer, you should be able to preview your subtitles over your video project. By default, your subtitles will appear in the center of your frame. You can reposition them to where you need them.
Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah said something very powerful about the sick heart versus the dead heart. He said that if you feel bad when you commit a sin, then know that that's a sign that your heart is still alive, because you wouldn't feel anything if your heart was dead. Part of our fitrah is that when we commit that sin, it shouldn't, backbiting shouldn't taste right. A person who's not used to backbiting, when they backbite, it tastes bad. Literally tastes that dead, filthy meat. It tastes rotten. It just doesn't have a good taste, and you don't feel right about it. And that's good. You have to capitalize on that. A person who's not used to watching haram.
I hope you liked the video. Subtitles are the easiest part when I make my videos. The real time is spent on other things like research and animations. I wrote some software just for this tutorial. You can download it from the links in the description. I hope you'll appreciate the flexibility of the workflow I presented. Like I said earlier, it's quick once you get a bit of practice. The bulk of your time will be spent in subtitle edit. The rest is pretty much mechanical. Please subscribe to my channel. YouTube does not support this channel. They use lame excuses to ostracize my channel. So I'm counting on your support to make the content you really want to see. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.